Have you ever felt like Facebook ads was only for the big brands out there? Maybe you've tried running Facebook ads in the past and you spent $2,000 here, $5,000 there, or maybe worse, $10,000, $15,000. Well, listen, I know for sure that I've had plenty of conversations where people thought that Facebook ads was just this black hole and they just never worked. Well, in my agency over the last 15 years, we've helped companies just like yours generate tons of Facebook ad leads and Instagram leads with very small budgets. So in today's video, I want to show you the exact system that we use to generate Facebook ad campaigns that are massively successful on small budgets. Welcome back to the show. This is Garrett Evans, and in today's video, as I've mentioned, I want to share with you why you don't necessarily need to spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat the idea that when you get it down, you're going to want to scale and you're going to want to spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 because once it gets dialed in, it's like playing a slot machine that you always win. If we can show you how to run a system where you put $1 in, you get $3 back, that's not a guarantee. That's really what would happen if you do it right. But if you can get to where the model of math works, you're going to want to spend a lot more money. But what about you if you're just getting started and you don't have that much money? I'm going to bring up 3 quick case studies that we worked on, and then I'm going to break down the formula in just a few minutes, okay? Case study number 1. There's a fitness trainer. He's not even a fitness trainer. He's really a strength and conditioning coach and degree in kinesiology and has trained athletes for 24 years. And he started to transition his business to working with average folks who are not in the sports arena, to take what he's learned with athletes and do it for folks like that are home, work from home executives, work from home business owners, work from home entrepreneurs. And the challenge he was having was he was following the fitness gurus in the industry, and they were telling him to follow a certain plan, a certain routine. Well, when we got to him, he'd had no success on Facebook. In fact, he'd already spent I can't remember the exact amount, but he'd already spent a ton of money with another advertising agency, and there were no leads coming in. I'll tell you one of the pitfalls in that campaign in just a moment and how we got him turned around. Here's what ended up happening. We put together the campaign for him. We helped him get it started, and he was on a $10 per day budget. By the way, all 3 of these started with a $10 per day budget. So that's where you can start as well. Within days, we started getting leads in his pipeline. Now, the funny thing is the first couple of leads that came in were sitting at about $20 or $25, which means it went 2 or 3 days before he got his first lead. Then as the campaign kept going, which we told him to be patient because we knew by the way, all of the advice we give our clients comes right out of our playbook, right out of our framework, right? So we have a methodology for messaging in Google Ads that works like a champion. Well, we told him, just be patient. We actually told him those first leads are going to cost probably between $15 and $30, and they did. And I said, but let it go for a week, let it go for 2 weeks. It's just $10 a day, and you'll notice that the lead costs will come down. Fast forward to about 90 days into the campaign, and he was getting leads at about $7 a lead. He couldn't believe it. Let me jump to another case. There's a gentleman by the name of Zach. This is a guy who had hundreds of thousands of followers across his social media, and he had a digital product in the music niche. And I'm like, there's no way this guy's not crushing it. And he says to me, Daryl, I just don't understand why nobody's buying my stuff. So we obviously put him on the program as well. He started with a $10 a day offer, and that offer was very specific to a very specific audience, to a very specific niche. And he actually started on day 1. I couldn't believe it. He was getting leads for right at $1.10 on the very first day. So like day 1, he had leads coming into his pipeline on day 1 for his program and his course. I'm going to go most recently to another professional B2B offering that a client of ours had. And she's in a very specific niche tied to the HR/staffing arena. And quite honestly, people tell me all the time, Daryl, you can't do B2B on Facebook. Isn't B2B for LinkedIn? Like, not anymore, folks. Those are the days gone by. LinkedIn is not bad for B2B. It's not that B2B buyers aren't there, but here's the issue. On LinkedIn for B2B, most people don't know that the average user on LinkedIn is only on the platform for 20 or 25 minutes per month. But the average user on Meta, Facebook and Instagram are on those platforms for sometimes 30 to 40 to 50 minutes a day. So it's not that they're not on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn costs more and the person is not there as often. So With this particular client of ours, we did the same strategy that I'm going to break down for you in just a moment. And we set her campaign up. We did the same thing that we always talk to our clients about. And we spoke just to a couple of the problems that her most ideal prospect has, which I'm going to break down why that's important in a moment. And not within days, I mean, it was a couple of days, and we had a little bit of a misfire at the beginning of the campaign. But once we got it dialed in, her click-through rates were through the roof. Her conversion rates were just fine. I mean, we have repeated and rinsed and repeated this process for as long as I can remember. And yes, there have been some changes a little bit. There have been some ebbs and flows. And yes, the algorithm has changed, the auctions changed. But for the most part, what I'm about to share with you right now is exactly how we do it. Are you ready? Campaign number one. Campaign number one, for whatever industry you're in, there's a way to pull this off. So I won't try to pick every industry here. But what we almost always do is we take and interview our business owner client, and we try to extract the top 5 to 7 questions that their perfect buyer will ask them during this sales process. Notice what I just said. We try to extract the top 5 to 7 questions that the ideal buyer would ask them during the purchase process, right? What are the 5 to 7 most pressing issues they might want to know before they say yes to doing business with you? We record those questions in any format that you want to. You can do them manually yourself on your phone. You can set it up on a tripod. You can get interviewed over Zoom or Riverside, whatever. We have a particular process we use inside of Riverside. And we take those questions and we put them into campaign number one. Campaign number one is designed to be an awareness campaign or get the attention of your most ideal prospect. And the reason it works so well is because we asked and talked about topics that only your best prospect would have said, that must be me, right? When we only say the words that your ideal prospect talks about in their head, then those ads cut right through, and Meta is one of the best in the game right now at making sure that they can find your perfect prospect, as long as you know who your perfect prospect is and you know what's keeping them up at night. You know how they think, you know what their fears are, you know what their desires are, and you know what their frustrations are. This is the game. You don't need fancy targeting inside of Meta anymore. They have fixed the system so that all you need to do is know what's in your buyer's mind, what they're hearing, what they're saying, and what they're doing in their life. And when you can tie your messaging into that, Meta will find the people. Don't ask me how, but thank God they know how to find people. Let me tell you. And you don't need a ton of money for this, right? You can start these campaigns with $3 to $5 a day, $1 per ad, whatever it may be. That's part of our $1 a day ads framework. But most importantly, how do you start getting the leads, right? This is what we call our core lead generation framework. Our core lead generation framework starts with creating an offer that your market would want. Meaning, what would that perfect person want to interact with if they just met you for the first time, right? And most of you make this mistake and you say, especially if you're a service business, by the way, if you're e-commerce, ignore what I'm about to say. I don't want to hear it in the comments from you e-commerce folks. If this is e-commerce and that's your business, ignore what I'm about to say. We work mostly with service providers. We work with professional service providers. We work with experts, coaches, consultants, industry service providers, local service providers, home service providers. So if you're in e-commerce, skip this step. Check with me in another video, because you're right. If you're in e-commerce, you're going to run a purchase campaign. But if you're a service business, you're going to set up a lead generation campaign that has to do with the first and next best step. If they listen to your video of one of those 5 to 7 questions, what's the next best step for them to take a step into your world, raise their hand, and become a lead? That is not always get a quote, free consultation, free strategy session, or book a call. And unfortunately, that's what most of you do. You just go in there and think, oh, I'm going to find these perfect people on Meta because Meta's good at it. Zuck and them are good at it. And they're just going to be ready to buy today. Well, guess what? They weren't ready to buy on Google. The vast majority of people are not ready to buy today. My mentor taught me 20 something years ago, and I just repeat it over and over and over again. And people don't want to hear me, but it's the truth. And if you wire your marketing around this methodology, you'll be just fine. There are only 2 times when people are going to buy, now or later. And the problem is you want to market all of your work to the now buyer, which is only 2, 3, 4% of the entire market. So when people tell me their ads didn't work, it's because they were measuring it against their now buyer market. Well, guess who else is looking for the now buyer? All your competitors, right? But here's what's funny. Studies show that 30 or 35% of the people who actually interacted with your ad are probably going to buy your product or service or do something with in the realm of the problem that you solve in the next 1, 3, 6, 12, 18 months. And some of you say, 18 months? Yeah. Well, if you sell real estate, it doesn't mean somebody's got to move tomorrow, right? I run a marketing agency. Nobody wakes up in the middle of the night saying, I can't wait to hire a marketing agency at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. You've got to be patient. So you've got to have campaign number one to get people's attention, get them to spend time with your brand, get people to understand that you're knowledgeable and you're somebody you can be trusted. And number two, what's the next most logical thing for them to come in your world? Maybe that's a resource guide. Maybe that's a PDF. Maybe that's a white paper. Maybe that's a webinar. You're going to have to figure that out for your industry. What I am telling you is that if you immediately jump to this idea of getting people to book a call, I'm not saying everybody won't book a call. I'm not saying no one will book a call. But if your only invitation is to book a call, you're going to struggle. In our 6-step framework, we've been running this framework for 15 years, and I've got 4 other businesses before the internet really popped off where I ran it then. What I'm saying is, in step 4, your job is to get them from social media onto your email list. Your job is not to just get them to like, comment, share on your post, which they will, which is fun, which is great, and it does help to get your message spread to a broader audience. But your job is, once you get their attention and you understand what's bothering them, you put something in front of them that will provide them some relief. Give them something that would give them some relief. It doesn't mean it's going to solve the whole problem, but give them some relief. If you relieve a little bit of their problem, they're going to trust you to relieve the rest of the problem. Okay? That's building an email list. Now, so those are the 2 basic ways to do it. Now, let me talk about a couple of mistakes. Number 1, don't go into Meta and run an engagement campaign or an awareness campaign and think that you're going to generate leads. Why? Because the Pixel and Meta is so smart. They understand who's going to convert and who's not going to convert. They understand the difference between a video viewer and someone who's going to convert and buy. So the problem is, many times you guys mess up setting up the right objective. The second mistake that gets made is you go in and you try to handcuff Facebook, or you handcuff Instagram, you handcuff the algorithm and say, only show my ad to these people and that people, only show it to them if they live in this place, only show it to them if they have this interest or that interest. Those days are gone, my friend. Your job is to do nothing. You put in age, geography, and that's it. Gender if you have to, because you're male, female, product or whatever, but don't put anything else in. We call that broad or open targeting. So when you choose the campaign called lead gen and you leave the targeting open called broad, and your job then is one. You only have one job today to make your ad successful on Facebook with any size budget. And that is to understand the messaging, the message to market match that your ideal buyer will respond to. And that, again, is not the response of, I saw you on Instagram at 7 o'clock at night after dinner, and I'm going to hop into your shopping cart and buy your stuff. Now, if you're e-commerce, that's a different conversation. But if you're a home service provider, that's probably not the right call to action. If you're a real estate agent, that's probably not the right call to action. As a marketing agency, it's probably not the right call to action. I do want to get my 1 to 3% who are in market today, but I'm promising you that if you put the right invitation in front of them, wherever they are on Meta, in that right campaign structure, and you understand what motivates them, what frustrates them, what desires they have, what frustrations they have, and where they ultimately want to go, you are subliminally, subconsciously entering their world and building trust. And when you build trust, they will move forward to you. And that's the way it's always worked, with or without the internet. And I hope that this serves you in the way that you think about Facebook ads. A lot of our clients start with ads at $10 a day. Do they stay there? No, because you can't scale your business at $10 a day. Don't let nobody fool you. But to prove that this works, you can figure out how to start that at $10 a day. $10 a day on your lead gen campaign, $3 to $5 a day on your brand awareness campaign. And if you want to know more about how we really think about it, we'd invite you, it's available right down beneath this video to download our framework document so you can learn more. This idea of succeeding with Facebook ads with a small budget, it's not impossible. We do it every day and twice on Sunday. And if you're not having good luck with Facebook and you want to figure out how to do it, we certainly would ask you to download the framework, come into our world, come into our community. We'll get you straightened out, get you on the right path. I hope I see you again on another video. Take care.